Hey math guys, how's it going today? Hope you're doing well. Today I'm making a video just to show you some of the work you did yesterday. Going to go over page 331, some of the problems 1 through 8 that you had for your work yesterday. We're going to check in, make sure how things are going. Looks like we're doing good. And then I'm going to let you get to work on the other problems for the day, which are some of the other problems on this page. Just working through the math right now. Okay, so we're going to go through just 1 through 8 here real quick and make sure we're good on the whole process of using zeros in the dividend, adding those if we need to, moving the decimal point if we need to help us get back to those good division skills we can use. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Our first part's actually just about placing the decimal where it needs to be for these. Okay, so for these ones, we can just use like a compatible numbers estimate and kind of think about, or maybe some rounding we can do just to get a quick idea. This is more just kind of practicing that skill. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that here. For our first ones, I'm going to zoom in, we'll make it red. We have 5 divided by 0 and 8/10. If you round that, you can just think that's kind of like 5 divided by 1. It's pretty close. Our answer would be about 5. So the way we can make this 625 be about 5, or would be to put a decimal here where it's going to be make it 6 and 25 hundredths. Okay, that's probably where I would recommend doing that. Okay. That's a good way to start. Again, this is just real quick. 26 and 1/10 divided by 6. Again, just think about compatible numbers. If we called it 24 divided by 6, our answer would be 4. If we rounded it up to 30 divided by 6, again, using compatible numbers, our answer would be 5. So somewhere between 4 and 5. How can we make this between 4 and 5? Well, that would be to place a decimal point right here. So we have 4 and 35 hundredths would be that answer, okay? Next one. Okay, let's think about this one. 42 hundredths divided by 35 hundredths. If we move the decimals, you would kind of think like, okay, it's like 42 divided by 35. That's going to be like, how many times would 35 go into 42? Would be just one time. And that's how we can kind of find our answer. We can think, well, it's going to be around 1. So the way to do that would be to put a decimal right here. Okay. And then our last part, 80 divided by 50. Okay, well, let's think. If I think about some other skills we can use, I can cross out some zeros here. I got a 0 here I can cross out, a 0 here I can cross out. 8 divided by 5, well, 10 divided by 5 would be 2. So answer should be maybe around 2, but a little less than 2. It's definitely more than 1. We can get one group of 5 out of 8. So I'm again going to put a decimal point right there, which would make it work. Okay, so just some quick ones real quick there to check up. Let's go through these ones now. We're going down to number 5. I'll just zoom out so you can see where I'm at. We're down to number 5 here. 5, 6, 7, and 8 were the ones you had to kind of really work out yesterday. So let's just check up and make sure we're feeling good there. Our first one, we have 32 and 6/10 divided by 4. So here we don't need to move a decimal in the dividend, the divisor, so we can place it right above here in the quotient. Always a good first thing to do. Then I can think, all right, let me go ahead and start solving here. How many times would 4 go into 3? Can't do that. 4 goes into 32 8 times. Place an 8 here. I'm going to try to just write it today. It might not look the greatest. That's, of course, going to give us 32. We'll subtract it out. We get 0. Then we can bring down our 6. How many times would 4 go into 6? Well, that'd be 1 time. And 4 times 1, of course, would be 4. Then we subtract, and we're going to get 2. But remember, we're not going to call that remainder 2. What are we going to do now? Now what we can do is we can put an extra 0 here in our dividend, because again, 32 and 60 hundredths is the same as 32 and 6/10. I'm not changing the amount I'm dividing by. I'm just making it kind of easier to work out by placing those zeros, and then I can bring down a 0 here and make this 20. So now I can think, okay, how many times would 4 go into 20? There's division skills. That's going to be 5 times. Okay, so we get 5 here, and we would subtract. That would be 4 times 5 is exactly 20. And we subtract and get 0 again. So again, notice there we're just using that skill, placing that 0 at the end, and that allows us to find an exact answer. Great. So again, 8 and 15 hundredths would be answer number 5. Let's go to 6. This is where it gets a little bit trickier. Here we have 1 and 2/10 as our divisor. We want to make that what? We want that to be a 12, right? Okay. So the way we can do that, mental math patterns, move a decimal point here. And then I got to actually think, okay, here I have the whole number 9. I'm going to move a decimal here and place a decimal. Actually, extend out my box. I'm going to place a 0 here. So really, we need to think of this like 90. Okay, so let's think about here. How many times would 12 go into 90? Well, let's see. 12 times 7, I think times 7 would be 84. And that's about the closest we can get. So I'm going to place my decimal here again where I moved it. If I do times 7, that's going to give me 84. Oh, sorry, I'm really bad at 8, so I'm trying to draw it. 84, and then we'd have 6 left over here. Now again, I'm going to place another 0 here to allow me, we're not going to say 7 remainder 6. In the past we would have done that, but now that we're working with decimals, we can get exact answers. Put another 0 here. I'm going to think, how many times will 12 go into 60? How many times would 12 go into 60? Well, that's another one I know. That's 5. That gives me exactly 60. I got 0 left, and so that means when I have 0 remaining, that means that's my exact answer is 60. Or sorry, is 7 5/10 because I have 0 left over. So 9 divided by 1 2/10 is 7 5/10, and that's our answer. Okay, great. Let's keep it going. Doing awesome here. Number 7. Thing to notice with this is we don't see a decimal point, but again, we're probably going to need to think about where to put one. To put the zeros in the dividend. So let's go ahead and put a decimal point above here. Again, think about if it's 42, that decimal, we don't see it, but it is right there if we need to put it. And let's see how this works out. Okay, now we're going to think 15. How many times would 15 go into 42? Well, that's going to be 2 times. 2 times 15 is 30, and that's the closest I can get. That'll leave me 12 left over. Now, again, we're not going to say remainder 12. We're going to think, all right, I can put a 0 here. Again, I've got this decimal, so that allows me to do it. It's still 42, no matter how many zeros I put on the end after the decimal. As long as I have that decimal there, it's 42. And then we can think, all right, bring down our 0. We get 120. 120, how many times would 15 go into 120? Like we kind of talked about in one of the problems from yesterday. That's going to be 8 times. Really bad at making the 8s, but it's not too bad. Okay. So then that would equal exactly 120. Again, sometimes you might have a time like that where you can't think in your head. Just do it off to the side, work it out. You guys know how to do it. Sometimes that just takes a little longer, but stay with it and you guys got it, okay? All right, let's look at our number 8 one. This is the challenge one, okay? Number 8, we have 0 and 91 hundredths, a small number, divided by another small number, 0 and 14 hundredths. So what we want to do is, first thing is we're going to make this 14 a whole number, so we're going to do that by moving 2 places. Then I need to do the same thing with my dividend, 2 places, which means my decimal is here. And again, what we want to do is put our decimal in our answer above where we move that to. So again, it's all going to work out the same. Basically what we're saying here is that 91 divided by 14 is going to give us the same answer as 0 and 91 hundredths divided by 0 and 14 hundredths. It's just, this is going to be an easier way to get there because it's a lot easier to think in terms of those whole numbers, okay? So now we're going to think, okay, I have to look at my 91. How many times would 14 go into 91? Now again, this might be one you have to kind of off to the side, right? But what it actually is going to be, I think, 6 times. So I do 14 times 6. Again, you might have to do it off to the side. I don't know my 14. That's a hard mental math, but it's okay just to go ahead and do it over here. 6 times 1 is 6. 2 more is 84. That's pretty close. Okay, so that's about the closest we can get. Now again, make sure here, when we look at the 91, is the number we're trying to take out of, we're going to put our answer of 6, our number here, 6, above the 1. As long as we remember to do that, everything else will work out nice and neat for us, and we'll be good, okay? And we'll do 84 divided by, 91 minus 84. That's how we can continue. That would leave us with 7. Then again, we're not going to say remainder 7. We would have done that at the start of the year, but now we're learning more and more things and learning how to continue work through and find exact answers. We're going to place a 0 here, because that's the same as 91. The whole number is the same as 91 and 0 tenths. Then I can place a 70, make it 70 by placing the 0 down there. My bar got more. So how many times now would 14 go into 70? Well, we know 14 times 6 is 84. If I take away a group of 14, that would be 5 groups, would make 70 exactly. So again, sometimes you might run into situations still where we got to work it out off to the side, and that's okay. We're just going to show the persistence and know we can do it. Even if it takes us a little bit of time, we can work these out, okay? And that's going to be exactly 70. Then that's going to leave us with nothing. That means our answer is 6 5/10. Okay, so let's take a look back at what we got for this page. So we placed our decimals up top, and then again, looking at numbers 5, 6, 7, and 8. These are the answers we've got here. Okay, so again, check those. Make sure you're good. If you made any mistakes, I'm thinking most of the mistakes might be with like, where does that decimal go? Just make sure you put that decimal in the quotient right above where it ends up in your dividend. Okay, so if you have to move a decimal like number 6 or number 8, you have to move that decimal place first, then put it right above wherever it goes, the way you set it up. Okay, so what you got the rest of the day here is just number 9 through 16. Okay, so you're gonna need some loose leaf paper. If you took some graph paper home or you got some with you, use that for sure. And tomorrow what we'll do is some of the word problems. So again, make sure you're good with these ones. I see a few where we're going to need to move some decimal places. Again, notice for number 9, there's not a decimal place listed. We can think it's going to be there. If I have the whole number 20, we're going to go, okay, we're going to go 1 here. We've got to bump 1 over here and then fill in a 0 here. So our decimal's over there, okay? So again, make sure you do that when you need to, only if the divisor needs to be a whole number. Here's one we need to move. Here's one. Here's one. So look out for that. And again, after that, you're going to think about placing those zeros, adding those zeros into the dividend until it works out evenly for you. Okay, and everything should work out just fine. Now we're again building up those skills, putting it all together here. Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll talk through some of the word problems real quick. But other than that, we're just working through this stuff, guys. Thanks again for your hard work here, and looking forward to talking to you again tomorrow. Thanks. Bye-bye.